I think it's fair to say that the original Rode Wireless Go was revolutionary. Since its release, everyone's been jumping on the bandwagon of the small, inexpensive 2.4 GHz wireless microphone, and it felt like Rode was getting left behind when it came to features. Well, with the release of the Rode Wireless Go 2, I think it's fair to say they've caught up and even overtaken the competition. In this video, I'm going to run through every aspect of the Rode Wireless Go 2. I was a big fan of the original Rode Wireless Go, and it seems like Rode have actually listened to their customers and implemented some drastic upgrades with the Rode Wireless Go 2. I've been using them for the past couple of days, and I want to help you get up and running as quickly as possible. This video is time coded, so if there's a specific section you want to know about, take a look at the different sections in the video description. Before we go any further, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Soundstripe. I've used Soundstripe for years, and their library of music is second to none. All of the music in this video is from Soundstripe, and they've kindly offered a 15% discount to all of my subscribers using the promo code CWM15 on checkout. There's a link in the video description. Let's start with some of the biggest improvements Rode have made, and then we'll take a deep dive into the devices as well as doing some testing. One of the features that made me click the buy button was the inbuilt record mode, and after playing with it a bit, I am so impressed. You can configure the transmitters to start recording as soon as they're turned on, which offers amazing peace of mind if you're ever in a position where you lose connection. There's two different formats that you can record the audio in. There's a compressed version and a non-compressed version. The compressed version will allow you to record for up to 40 hours, and the non-compressed version will allow you to record for 7 hours in Float 32, which, if you don't know what that is, go and check it out, do some Googling. It's a really exciting new development when it comes to audio recording. The second is the range has been increased from 100 meters to 200 meters. If true, this is a huge selling point over the competition, but we'll find out in the range test if this is true. Obviously, connecting two transmitters to one receiver is a big improvement, but personally, I won't be using this feature much, and they kind of had to do this to keep up with other brands. Finally, the Rode app. Rode Central is a really powerful tool, and we'll take a detailed look at it later on in the video. Let's take a look at what you get in the box. You get two transmitters and one receiver, a bag of cables which contains 3 USB-C cables for charging and a 3.5mm jack lead. You also get 3 dead cats and a little neoprene case to keep everything in. As with the original, they don't include any lav mics, which I think is a bit of a shame and something their competition is including. You are able to connect the receiver to your phone, and to be honest, I was expecting there to be a couple of cables included which allowed you to actually do this. There aren't. So let's talk about the design of the transmitters. Other than the added 2 on the front and the little arrows next to the built-in condenser microphone, these are identical to the originals, which isn't a bad thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The reason for the little arrows next to the condenser microphone is you can actually lock the dead cat on to the Rode Wireless Go, which you couldn't in the originals, and they used to always just fall off. So this is a nice touch. On the right hand side, you have a USB-C port for charging, upgrading the firmware, and configuring the microphones in the Rode Central app. On the top, there's the input, LED indicators, and a built-in condenser microphone. The input can be used with a lavalier microphone or line input if you want to use the Rode Wireless Go to turn your headphones into a wireless monitoring system. I made a video about this recently, and I'll add a link to the video in the description if you're interested in how to do this. If they're running low on power or they aren't connected to the transmitter, the LEDs will flash. The condenser microphone looks to be identical to the one that was on the original Rode Wireless Go, so I don't imagine the sound quality will have improved. On the back of the transmitters, you can see the same belt clip as before. The one thing that I really wish had been included is numbers on the transmitters. It would have made life a lot easier with my testing if I knew which one was number 1 and which one was number 2. After I've released this review, the very first thing I'm going to do is add my own labels to the front of them. Let's move on to the receiver, where the real magic happens. Rode have packed so much into this little system, I don't know how they've managed to do it. On the bottom of the receiver there are two buttons, one which controls the level and whether the transmitters are muted or not, and the other is a transmitter selection / pairing button. When both of these buttons are pressed and held for 3 seconds, it will change the record mode from split mode to merged mode, and we're going to talk about this later on in the video. When you press the button on the right hand side, it cycles between the two transmitters, 1 and 2, and from here, using the button on the left, you can mute the selected transmitter. That's a really nice touch. The receiver's screen is bigger and brighter than the original and is split into 4 main sections, and icons for battery life, backlight mode, and output gain for the receiver in the middle. The screen is bright and clear and can be easily read on a bright day. On the left hand side of the receiver you have the USB port, again for charging and updating the firmware, as well as the 3.5mm output. On the top you just have the power on and off switch, and again a belt / hot shoe clip on the back. So I touched on the merge or split mode, but I want to delve in a bit deeper. When using the Rode Wireless Go 2, you can either send one transmitter to the left channel and the other to the right channel, or you can merge them both together into a single output. Both options have their positives and negatives. If you are using the merged mode with both transmitters in operation, you can enable a feature in the app called Safety Mode, which essentially records 2 different audio levels at the same time. The first will record the levels that you set, and the second will record a slightly lower volume to ensure the audio doesn't peak. This is a lovely feature and one that I would definitely use if I was only recording one person. But for a 2-person interview, I definitely pick the flexibility of being able to split the channels and adjust the audio levels in post. The safety mode isn't available in split mode at the moment. I just want to touch on pairing. When you turn the devices on by holding the power button for 3 seconds, they should already be paired, but for some reason my second transmitter wasn't. If you need to pair them again, all you need to do is hold the right hand bottom button on the receiver for 3 seconds and make sure the transmitter isn't in the mute state like mine was by pressing the power button once. Right, let's move on to this awesome app, and we're going to jump on the computer and take a look at Rode Central. So this is Rode Central. It's the main hub that you use to configure your Rode Wireless Go 2, and I have to say I think this is awesome. I'm going to plug in the transmitter now. It takes a couple of seconds to initialize, and then you will see it pop up. If you need to do a firmware update, it will pop up as soon as you plug in either the transmitter or the receiver. On the left hand side you can see all of the recordings that I've done since turning on internal recording, and I can't express how much I love this feature. Have you ever been in a situation where you lose connection between your transmitter and receiver and you're thinking, God, what am I going to do? Well, this solves that problem. This will record the audio no matter whether you have connection with the receiver. To enable this, all you need to do is go up to this little cog button, click it, and on the right hand side you can see record is set to on. As standard it comes as off, so you will need to enable it to use this feature. And you also have mute lock. I haven't got this turned on, but this essentially will remove the mute functionality from the transmitter so your talent can't accidentally mute their own microphone. Then you've got your battery percentage, 82%, and I've been using it for quite a long time today, so that's not too bad. And then recording, we have standard quality compressed, which is what I've got it set to at the minute. Broadcast quality uncompressed. So you can see with standard quality, it's saying I've got 42 plus hours remaining, and broadcast quality, I've got 7 plus hours remaining. And then if I want, I can just delete all the recordings on the transmitters. Then we have the internal date and time, the firmware version, and the serial number. Let's swap over to the receiver. So this is the receiver, and there's some really nice features in here. Obviously, we have things like the battery percentage, the date and time, the firmware version, and the serial number, but you also have these options up here. Firstly, we have the option to turn the backlight on or off if we want to. You can change the gain mode from coarse to fine, which is a nice feature. If I click that, you'll see this little logo change. So if you want to finally adjust your audio gain instead of only having the 3 steps, this is where you would do it. Then you have the option to change it from merged to split mode, and you can see when I do that, the safety channel turns off. I really hope at some point in a future update they allow the safety channel to be on the split mode as well, because I love that feature. And then the power button, when it's pressed once, you can either have that set to be a marker or the backlight control. Currently, I've got it set to marker just so I can find things easily. It's really nice to have something this thought out and this comprehensive come with the microphones. Let's jump back to the YouTube desk. So I guess we should do some audio quality testing. Or we might have already been doing some. Don't know whether you've realized, but this whole review has actually been recorded on the Rode Wireless Go 2, which is mounted just here above my head, and I've got the receiver plugged directly into my camera. So this is the raw audio coming out of the Rode Wireless Go, and I've listened to it back, and I think it sounds pretty nice. Now we know what it sounds like, I want to test the range, but there was a small problem with this. The advertised range is 200 meters, and as we're currently in a lockdown, I couldn't get anyone to help me, and I wasn't keen on leaving my camera whilst I walked 200 meters away, but I had an idea. Let's take a look. So I came up with what I think is a pretty genius idea. I strapped the transmitter of the Rode Wireless Go to the back of my drone and just flew it away. I stopped at 115 meters to see if I was still getting a good signal. I was, so I carried on flying. And the image in the bottom right hand corner of the screen looks like a photograph. It's actually a recording of the receiver on top of my camera. 200 meters, no problem whatsoever. Obviously these were ideal conditions. There was nothing blocking the line of sight, but at 300 meters, the drone actually started to lose connection. So we still have a perfect signal on the Rode Wireless Go, but the drone was giving up, so I had to bring it back. This is really impressive. Onto battery life, and Rode advertised that both the transmitters and receiver will last for 7 hours, and from my testing I'd say you'd be lucky to get 7 hours. I think you're more likely to get somewhere between 5 and 6, but that's still a very good performance for something that fits in the palm of your hand. I think that's everything I wanted to cover in this review. If someone asks me in the future what wireless microphone system I would recommend, it would 100% be the Rode Wireless Go 2. The battery life, the range, the performance, the reliability, it is just the perfect package. I will be making a video in the near future comparing the Rode Wireless Go 2 to the Saramonic Blink 500 Pro, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned, it shouldn't be very long. Thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another episode. And whilst I've still got you, let me tell you about my new Facebook group. There's a link in the video description. It's a place where you can ask me questions, request videos, and share your own thoughts, opinions, videos, anything you want to share with me. Just come on over and say hi. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again really soon.